Oh, hi, friends. You come to console me, huh? For the video, huh? Hi, PG, I know. I love my fur babies. Love them. Y'all, when I was laid off 3 years ago, that calendar invite threw me for a loop, and it was not the invite that I'd expected. And one thing that definitely got me through were my fur babies. PG, can I have the camera back, please? Huh? Come here. Sit right here. Come on. Come on. Come on. Okay. Yeah, my fur babies definitely got me through that. Being laid off is not fun. It's not exciting. It's actually very... How do you put into words? Because it's happened to me more than once now. I've gone through this a total of 3 times. Just never would have expected to go through it in a span of like 2 years back to back. But that layoff also woke me up. I loved my job at the time. I felt like I had a unicorn job. I've talked about it a few times. I was working remote for a tech company, a financial tech company, excuse me, that did loan disbursements for patients going through IVF. And I had already gone through my own personal journey. If you're new here, I'm a stage 2 breast cancer survivor. Clap for me in the comments, please. Also, my Devil Wears Prada 2 cup. And yeah, love this. But I ended up freezing my eggs on my breast cancer journey. So I just had like a personal connection to the mission of this company. And honestly, it was one of my best experiences that I had. So when I got that random calendar invite on my calendar, I was like, oh, what's this? You know, it was, I think 11 or 12 o'clock. Just really getting into the day because I had other meetings with other clients and accounts later that day too. And when we got the news that we were part of like this first round of layoffs, I was like, I think I was shocked. I was so shocked in the moment that I did not know how to process what the hell they just said to me. I was like, okay. And then they talked about like severance and different things like this. And I was just like, okay. So once, the meeting ended, the, like apologies, the shock and the surprise, being caught off guard, really, because no one really wants to be caught off guard, even though it happens so much. Turned the computer off, slammed my laptop shut. I think I grabbed Cardi, and then we just went and sat in the bed. And this was like sunny day, probably also a random Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I don't even remember which day at this point. And I just did not know what to do. So I just went to sleep. I went to sleep until it was time for me to wake up. And my first thoughts were like, okay, girl, we got rent. You just got this puppy like 2 days ago. We have bills. We got things that have to be taken care of. But I was proud of myself because for the first time in my entire life, I had a real emergency fund. I had never in my life like saved like that, but it still wasn't enough. My emergency fund went pretty quickly, especially if you're, paying a higher rent amount, which I was. That was my like post-cancer comeback, girl, you only live once, you only get one. Like that apartment was like all that energy. I had never lived in an apartment like that before. I had never spoiled myself like that or, treated myself like that. So I kind of took on this like, okay, girl, you almost faced death. Treat yourself. You're alive. You're back. Do the things that you've been wanting to do. And I had a job that finally afforded me the things I wanted to do. I had just escaped a very toxic burnout situation with a different startup company. So going into a new startup company where it felt like things were more level, more balanced, and I was bonusing. I had hit like, really well in the 6 figures. Like things were just, they felt so up. They felt so up. And they felt up until they weren't. Until they were down. So end up, like I think I was able to kind of coast off of my severance and my severance, still paying my bills, right? Still paying my debts, living and surviving for about 5 months. But that 5th month started to get real tight. And I don't think I've ever publicly shared this. Hold on, y'all. Cardi clearly getting her ball is so important. Hold on. Okay, I have to hide it to distract her for right now, because if I don't, she is going to be all day. This is my fur baby that got me through. So as I got down to, I say like the 4th quarter, my mom, she had came to visit me, and we already had this trip planned. I felt so bad that I couldn't follow through. I had like prepaid for a trip for her because my mom loves Joanna Gaines. Cardi, come on. I don't know why you limping. Come on. Place. Good girl. My mom had already we prepaid for this trip to go to Waco, Texas to see Chip and Joanna Gaines for like their yearly, festival or whatever. And I did not feel comfortable fully following through. So I kind of had to take some of the loss on that. But my mom came to visit me, and she just really encouraged me, because I was applying for jobs. I even had some jobs where they reached out to me, but I turned them down because I felt like the pay was too low. And because I had landed this unicorn job making so much money, I felt like, oh, if y'all not going to make that or then some, then no, I don't want it. But in hindsight, I really should have accepted some of those roles. I think like Home Depot had reached out to me and offered me a position in their corporate office. I forgot what other companies, but that salary still would have sustained me. I just allowed that job that I lost to kind of place a new value of dollar amount on my head, versus actually looking at like, okay, girl, this is still hybrid or remote or whatever. This could have still been a good potential opportunity for you. And I didn't take it. And so once it started getting kind of down to the wire, I was like, girl, we got to get something. Cardi need dog food. We about to start living on beans and rice. Things are getting a little tight up here, and so I end up accepting. Only my close friends know this. I end up accepting a store manager job for maybe 1 month at a retail store in Atlanta. Very small, cute, quaint little store. Do I want to share the name? No, I'm not going to share. I'm going to keep that private. A place that I actually always did shop, but I just did not have a desire to get back into retail. I felt like my back was against the wall, and I had to like lean on what I knew. And those were the skill sets that I knew the best. I knew I could pretty much get hired into like any retail company respectfully. After 18 years in the game, with a clear record, talking like I did some serious time. I mean, I did. If you done came from retail, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So I ended up accepting this job. And now I'm back to managing people, and now I have to drive into work, and now I'm working holiday hours because it was around Thanksgiving, and now we're doing floor sets and changes and merch flips and stuff like that. And I'm like, I actually honestly hadn't had to do this in about 2 years, 3 years. I had been like out of the game with retail. So it was an adjustment. It was a big adjustment again, because I moved so far away from it. I didn't want that type of lifestyle anymore. I had worked really hard to set up the type of lifestyle that I had and that I wanted. I didn't want to commute in traffic anymore to get to work. I didn't want to be managing people in that season, especially, kind of off of my breast cancer thing. I needed something that just gave me some space, and it gave me some autonomy. And that's what my unicorn job did before I got laid off. So hey, here we are. We had to do what we had to do. We accepted the job, started working it, and I dreaded going into work every single day. I'm pretty sure those people probably knew it. And I tried to be the best that I could with my attitude, and I would pray to God before I got in there and just talk to him. And I'm like, I am not used to taking a 30-minute break anymore and having to clock in and out. This whole thing like really humbled the hell out of me. It was so humbling because, you know, when you go from like the bottom, then you work your way, you're getting to the top, but something knocks you off your square and you feel like you're back at square one. That's a humbling experience. So having to do that in that season, it humbled the hell out of me. I had always been like on time with my rent. My rent was obviously always paid in full. And these things were luxuries, right? Because I had had a journey and a time in life overall. I remember my first apartment where it's like that very last month I couldn't pay rent, and that was like over 10 years ago. So it just felt good to be in a place where I was consistently like handling my business. I didn't need help from anyone. I didn't need support from anyone. I didn't need to ask anyone for anything until I actually did. So right then when I was probably about a month into that job, I was like so diligent and just praying to God and just asking him like, Lord, please open up a door. Please open up a door. Show me what you need to show me here. Cause I don't know, you know, I don't know. And I'm going to keep it real with you. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here, but I know that I have to pay my rent. I know that I have to get by. I know that I have to get some groceries. I know that I have to, there's things that I have to do. So show me what you need me to do. And I was grateful even that very last month, like when I got down to the itty bitty, literally the itty bitty. I can't remember if this was like right before the job or after. My church at the time had supported me financially too, in like covering, I think it was either a portion or maybe the full month's rent for me. And I was like, my gosh, I have never been in this position before. And I don't ever want to go back. I don't want to go back. But let me tell you something. I was grateful for a church home that supported me when I had a need, because I had heard of many churches that did not do that, which red flag for me. But I was grateful that that was there for me. I had to figure out like, okay, in this season, Lord, I appreciate you offering me provision and opening up a door for me. Is this the door that I want open? No, it's not. But is this the door that I need right now? Yes, it is. So help me fix my attitude to humbly receive where you have me right now. I'm still like a little upset about the layoff. I don't understand why that happened. I have no idea how to climb and get back to it. I had fell into tech. Tech wasn't something I was personally trying to pursue, but I just fell into it by way of the same like line of work, fertility to fertility. So I was like, all right, well, Lord, your will be done. However you see like a door to open, like I just pray you open it. And I end up having a girls' night. I had already committed to the girls' night, right? And I looked at my money was tight. So I was like, okay, we gonna have to do this the Aldi way, because I still want y'all to come over, but everybody bring a dish. So sent the text message out for everyone to like bring their own dish. So everyone contributed. I think I got the things for like mocktails or whatever. And the girls came over and we just had a beautiful evening. They probably didn't even know fully like what I had going on or what I was going through. And I was like, whew. I was like, okay. End up catching up with a really good friend that I had when I used to live in Charlotte, North Carolina. She had just moved to Atlanta and I hadn't seen her in a couple years, honestly, since I had left Charlotte. So we ended up chit-chatting and I let her know that I had went through a layoff. I was in between work. And yeah, she knew. I just started getting transparent with my community. Like, hey, if you know anybody that's hiring, let me know. Please keep me in mind. I'm in transition right now and I'm looking for something. And she was like, yeah, I think my job is hiring right now. Let me see if I can connect you. And one thing led to another. One interview led to 3 interviews. And maybe shortly after, maybe a month after that, like girls' night, I received a job offer. And it was like maybe 50x on my previous income increase. So it was just what Cardi and I needed. It was just what we needed. And I landed that position. I was so grateful. I did not know what I was doing. Once again, back in tech, but this was a different type of tech. It was SaaS tech. And I was like, this is very new to me, Lord, but I needed something. So it was remote. It paid me well. And that was the space that I needed to be in. So God knows what he's doing, because that was December. Come January, I literally felt like God was telling me, move back home, move back to Michigan. I received a letter in my email about my lease. If I was resigning, renewing, I would need to let them know within X amount of days, or this is what you're looking at if you go month to month. And my rent was, to me, already kind of on the higher end. So I was like, okay, I guess I gotta decide. I love my apartment, so I didn't want to leave my apartment at all. I love the area that I lived in Atlanta. I just, Cardi had her dog friends. We had the dog park. Like, I just loved everything about where I was. Target was right there. Everything was just so close by. So I didn't want to necessarily leave my apartment, but I could not shake God telling me that I had to come back home. And it's almost like certain doors that I was looking for to open weren't opening. And this happened to me when I had lived in Atlanta the first time, about 5 years previous. So I was like, okay, this is, here we are again, Lord. Okay. I cried. I was emotional. I talked to God. I think I tried to plead my case type of thing. And no, I knew the answer was the answer. And the only doors that opened were the doors to leave. So everything lined up for me to have movers come in, pay them, move me out my apartment, stay with my girlfriend for a couple nights before me and Cardi hit the road. We had everything packed up, wrapped up, just everything ready for us to go. And that was from this particular piece happened in March. So I had been preparing. I went from January, hearing God tell me that, to February, my birthday, having a get together once again. And it was like a leaving party. And then shortly after, hitting the road, driving 12 hours with Cardi and moving back to Michigan. And it was like I was able to carry that job with me from Atlanta to Michigan. So that was a great transition. I was able to still be remote, work from home and things like that. So I was grateful for the way that door opened, but it was crazy how it started. And it kind of just leads me back to even where I am today. That layoff was a wake-up call. If you've been through a layoff and you've experienced anything like this, it's not a good feeling. It can be devastating, because many people also are one paycheck away from poverty, being on the streets, having to live with a family member, and technically when I moved back home to my family, I was restarting. I literally hit the reset button because I had depleted my savings. So I was just building it back up. And what I built back up basically went to my movers and my last month's rent, utilities, expenses. It just went to survival. And I had exactly what I needed, honestly, just enough to make it back to Michigan with gas and everything. So once I got here, it was literally all right, all the, I was about to say all the Legos, all of the, what are those little pieces? What's that game? They're little blocks. You pull it out. All the blocks were on the floor because I already pulled out the block that broke the tower. And okay, how do we rebuild these blocks? And that has been the journey that I've been on in these past 2 years in the most interesting way. But some things that I've really learned about myself, even going through all of that, and then that job end up letting me go 2025. Also same format, right? Calendar on the meeting on the calendar, 100% unexpected, and once again feeling like a rebuild. But I want to be intentional about my exit plans, not the job exiting me, not, the companies pushing us to the side through layoffs, but through the exit plan that we get to own and we can create for ourselves, because I don't want to exit one toxic thing to another. And I'm not calling my last job toxic by any means. It was not that type of environment, and I'm grateful for that. But I'm just simply saying, like, when we do know that our time is coming or our time is up, we are exiting from one thing to another in a way that actually better supports like my needs. It better supports what I'm looking for in the work that I'm trying to do. It showed me you cannot depend on just one income from these jobs, because they can hire you today and fire you tomorrow. It is so important to create your own streams, your own revenue, your own outlet of some sort, having your own skill sets that you monetize, that you capitalize off of, figuring out whatever that is for you. I would never rely on one source of income again. I would never do that. And this isn't new news, but it's just like when you really get a wake-up call, you really get a wake-up call. and you can't unsee it. You can only take the wisdom from the situation that God allows you to gain and the understanding and apply it. Yeah, knowing and applying what you know is wisdom. So that's where I've been today. That's where I'm at. That's why the exit plan exists, because for any person, I mean, the woman that's literally rebuilding, maybe you're rebuilding from the layoff, maybe you're rebuilding from the transition, maybe you move back to your parents' house like me, in your childhood bedroom, or maybe you're thinking about it. Maybe there's something that you have to exit from. Maybe your boss is extremely toxic and it's becoming unhealthy for you to be in that space and in that environment. Maybe you are on your last leg or your last fume, whatever it may be, whatever thing that you're feeling. I want to invite you into the room. Saturday, June 6th, we're just having like honest conversation around these feelings. And you don't have to show up perfectly. You don't have to show up with answers. You don't even have to show up with questions if you don't want to. But I want us to just have space so we can talk through, like, what does getting on the other side really look like? What does starting to create your exit plan really look like? Like, when we sit down and get honest with ourselves about, this is where I'm at and this is what I need. So how do I get from where I'm at to what it is that I need? And when you have clarity around that, then you can really work the muscle to get the results that you want to have, create the experience that you want to have, live the life that you want to have. Unfortunately, I saw an article recently, the uptick in layoffs. I think it was like Oracle and a few other companies. I've heard Meta at some point and just other companies. And I'm like, I don't know if it's just a tech thing now or just like a thing in general, but there's a lot of people going through a lot of changes and a lot of hardship right now. And I resonate with that. I understand that. And I've lived that. And now that I'm like still working myself like through the tail end of that, I want to be able to talk with other people and meet with other ladies that also resonate with those feelings. I've enjoyed talking to y'all in my comments on YouTube and Substack. Whew. Okay. I've enjoyed being able to actually connect with y'all. And so I want us to have an hour of time to like connect in real life with each other. So if that's something that you think you need or you desire, click the link in the description below to join the Exit Plan Live on Saturday, June 6th. That's where we'll be meeting and chit-chatting and being able to just kind of talk through some of these frustrations, but also, you know, what does it look like to start creating a plan and be intentional? Because I don't want you to get that calendar invite, that random meeting on your calendar, and have the same conversations that I've had twice now and not be prepared, not have anything else going on, or feel like, oh my God, this was it. Now what? It's devastating. It's upsetting. It takes your breath away for a minute, because what words do you really have? It's like you have questions, but you know your questions aren't really going to get answered because the decision is the decision. So you're just left to kind of pick up the pieces, and you're like kind of just resting with the decision. And I don't like that back against the wall thing. No. What do they say? Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, can't get fooled again, or something. I don't know. Somebody knows it. somebody else knows it. But yeah, I would love to see you in the room for the conversation. All right, y'all. Until the next video, friends. Peace out and take care. You say bye, Cardi. Bye, mamas. Oh, it's my sweet girl.